What's up, man? I just checked the mail, Rob. Yeah. You I you're not supposed to do that, bro. That wasn't the agreement. That's my job in life, is to tell you what to do. Oh, let's hear this. I don't uh Mhm. Hmm. Yeah. Yep. Oh man, dude. Well, no, I appreciate you, man. And it took us too long to actually do this, by the way. We should have. I'm always ready to go. The question is, are you ready to go? How are you feeling?
He's in. It's too late. We started.
Oh, dude, you see, yeah, you a savage for that.
What? I no. I waited till you said you were good, and then after you said you were good, you're like, "Oh wait, but how are you, by the way?" Which I'm fine.
That's
Thanks for
brutal.
asking.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Why is that brutal? Because I asked
You
you
know,
if you
you
were good to go, and you're like, "I'm good to go."
you could at least brought the lube out, dog.
That's not what I paid for. Hey everybody,
What are you
welcome
drinking?
into this divisional round weekend. Sterls and I already at each other's throats, ready to go. It's been quite the week for Bills Mafia, and
Oh
and I can listen. I can attest to the term that Buffalo likes to call itself the city of good neighbors. It is. There are like I pulled over on the side of the road to help somebody in a snowstorm once here, and they were like scared. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
there's
well, look
just
at you.
it's just a
Look at you.
different expectation there. And
Uh-huh.
so, in more than one way this week, Bills Mafia has shown that they are in for the fight, that they are the person that you want on your side when the chips are down.
Sure.
And so, take care of the people who take care of you is my opening message. And even if the people who take care of you get angry about it afterwards, tough shit. So.
Wow.
What?
You know,
What?
thank you for the speech.
I was just
it wouldn't
opening the show
be.
with a little positivity. Did you see Greg Van? I think it was who was the guy? His wife had a baby, and the local tow shop in the snowstorm earlier this week. Local tow shop helped get him to the hospital and get him back home after they delivered the baby.
See, that's Buffalo right there, man.
A Steeler fan, this was my favorite story of the day. A Steeler fan got so hammered they lost their keys in the snow. Could not find them. And so this lady from, some town in Buffalo sees them struggling, invites them to come to her house, which is like only a couple blocks away. She lets them stay there until they try to figure out what they're going to do with their keys. They decide they're getting a hotel room for the night. Their son drives them to the hotel room because they're going to get wings, victory wings, whatever. This is a Steelers fan. And the guy didn't even know her name. She didn't care. It wasn't what was important at the time. Bills Mafia is the friends you want when the chips are down, and I'm proud of everything that I heard come out of Buffalo this week.
Undefeated, man. Sacrificing people to the pit, though, I think it's awesome.
I think it's a little overblown, but you know what? I'm going to let it go.
Dude,
I'm not here to stop the train.
No, you know what? And I'm thinking like the new stadium should be called the Pit. I know not official name, but like the fan, like that's what we call it.
Yeah, a couple people have been talking about that already, and I fully support that idea. You know what I mean? And somebody put out on Twitter like, hey, whatever company decides to sponsor the naming rights for the new stadium, please make sure that your business model is concurrent with it being called the Pit. Thank you.
Yeah. What? Man, because I was thinking about like, when we call, some people still call it the Ralph, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like, what's the new stadium going to be called? Like, I don't want it to be called the Chicken Wing.
The Ralph is weird though because like its best years were Rich Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so like when I was a kid, I didn't know Rich was a company, right? But Rich was some company that was in Buffalo. But I didn't know that was a company. I thought it was just like somebody's name. And then they switched it to the Ralph, and it kind of took, and everybody kind of always called it that. But I don't know. I mean, it's that's the thing with nicknames, right? You don't get to pick them; they just kind of.
Yeah. So the Pit,
it just kind of.
It's dope. So it has I love it, man. I think it's awesome. So I'm happy about that actually.
So let's talk about last week before we talk about this week because some crazy things happened. Of course, we will go through the entire slate for the divisional weekend and pick every game against the spread. And we don't just pick it; we put our money where our mouth is. Well, at least I do.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I do too.
Oh, sure he does. Of course. Of course. Of course. I'm sure you have logs of all the bets that you've made.
I can
listen, putting $2 on a 14-leg parlay with every pick you made is not putting your money where your mouth is.
Listen, I put sometimes 10, 20 on them.
You are a liar, and you're lying right to the good people here, including David, who's in
I got receipts.
Listening. David, thank you for hopping in and hanging out with us.
I got receipts, man.
Dude, we know you're a liar.
Well, okay, first of all, why are you making me sound like a cheap ass? Because I'm not.
I know you're not a cheap ass. You just don't actually put your money where your mouth is. So when I say that's so just to make sure I'm not false advertising, I have to let the people know that you're a cheap ass.
Wow. See, and that's not okay that you would do that to me because you're wrong,
Brother, it's false advertising. Like,
completely wrong.
I can't do it. T-Rex, what's up, man?
Oh, T-Rex is up in here. What's up, dog? I was wrong about the Cowboys. Oh, my God.
Is that where you want to start with last weekend? Because
Dude, let's start with that.
So,
go
ahead.
You called it. You said it. You called it. I gotta give you credit. I gotta give you props on that because I was on the idea of like, surely the Cowboys, knowing everything that's happened to them over the past few years and and their lack of playoff success, surely the Cowboys aren't going to lose an opening round game at home with MVP runner Dak Prescott in this vaunted defense that they're supposed to have.
Yeah.
Surely not the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, the first thing that I tweeted out after watching that was they have 9 first-team All-Pros on that team. 9 first-team All-Pros. You know how many the Bills have?
0.
And, man, you cannot have that much talent and put out that kind of effort. They got pasted. And thank you for giving me the credit, but I didn't even have the balls to pull the trigger. You know what I mean? Like, I was looking at it like I really liked the 7, and I didn't have the balls to do it. And the domination, here's the thing, and Green Bay is going to be up and down because they're young, but to be as thoroughly dominated as they were in every facet of the game, and that includes the comeback. Like, I'm not pushing away the garbage time because it wasn't necessarily garbage time. Like, they still were in it. Not by a lot, but they were still in it. And even in garbage time, Green Bay was just getting them to do what they want. You know what I mean? Like, Green Bay was just having their way with them. And I don't know. I mean, it made me think 2 things right off the bat. One,
all right,
this Green Bay team doesn't know what they don't know. And that makes them dangerous. And we talked about that with Houston a little bit last week.
Right.
If you don't know what you don't know, you just don't play with any pressure. It's not, I'm happy to be here. It's, look at this opportunity we have, and you can get a long way with that. The second thing it made me think, damn, the NFC is trash. Oh my God, the NFC is so bad. The final 4 quarterbacks in the NFC are Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, and Jordan Love.
Good.
One of those guys is going to be in the Super Bowl. 2 of them are going to be playing for an NFC title game next week.
Yeah, and the best quarterback of that group is Jordan Love.
Maybe.
To me. I mean,
I'm not.
Brock Purdy, to me, I'm not saying Brock Purdy's not good, but he is very much a product of that system. And that's not a bad thing. He's doing his function in that system. But when you talk about quarterback talent, Jordan Love is better than him. Jordan Love has and not just this run of the last 8 games. Jordan Love has been amazing. And I hate the comparison, but it's so true. You can't undo it. When he throws the ball, he looks like Aaron Rodgers. He watched and emulated Aaron Rodgers.
I gotta roll you back. Because if you're taking points away from Brock Purdy for Kyle Shanahan, you got to take points away from Jordan Love for Matt LaFleur. I mean, the dude, Sterls.
Hold on, though.
The dude won 13 games pretty much every year. He has been considered a mastermind on offense. And to his credit, he has reshaped that offense over the season to do what Jordan Love is good at, which is exactly what the problem is. What you know what I mean? What the knock on Brock Purdy is with San Francisco is that, they only do what he does well.
But when you look at the talent, the off-platform throws, the manipulating the pocket, that's quarterback skill.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say is he has more skill than Brock Purdy. He's looked really good lately. I would like to see what it looks like next season, if he can continue that trend. He's in a good system. Matt LaFleur is a great offensive mind, for sure. But with these young wide receivers, it's different. You have the San Francisco 49ers who have talent at every position. Offensive line, wide receiver, running back, tight end. The Packers don't have that right now. They have young guys.
That's not true. That doesn't mean they don't have
Christian
talent.
Watson.
Hold on.
Christian Watson
Those
is
are
always
two separate
injured.
things. Those are two. That doesn't mean they don't have talent.
Who doesn't? No. San Francisco talent is way better. It's way better on offense.
Okay.
You should. Brandon Ayuk.
No,
Debo
I
Samuel.
don't disagree. I don't disagree with you. That's not a fight I'm willing to fight. But I just don't think it means that the Green Bay offense is devoid of talent. But if you want to say San Francisco has
it's
better
young
talent, that's fine.
Young talent, young homegrown talent is what they got.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. You ready for my hot take? Baker's the best quarterback left on the NFC side of the bracket.
No, yeah. I'd say Jordan Love is.
Listen, I think Jordan Love.
You've been on this. Why you been on this Baker thing this year?
Dude, I'm telling you. Can we hold on? Take a second. Take a second here. Take a deep breath. Okay. Take a deep breath. Ready? Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
This year, he had identical stats to Tom Brady last year. Okay. He's got 2 playoff wins in his career. One is with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's great.
He absolutely dominated the Philadelphia Eagles in a wild card playoff game last week. Now, you want to talk shit about the Eagles, we'll get there. But you have to give him credit for against a playoff team in a playoff game going for 303 tutties and just eating that defense alive. They won that game. That was the biggest blowout of the weekend. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
Like it was not.
I'm not going to take anything from Baker. I'm just saying, like, if I had to choose between Baker Mayfield and Jordan Love, I'm taking Jordan Love.
Listen, he even made a little comment about how somebody, and he wouldn't say who, but somebody told him to tone it down, put his swagger away kind of thing when he was in Cleveland. Your franchise QB now, that whole Colin Cowherd argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And man, I think it really took away from who he was. And it's a long mountain to climb, but here's this dog in fucking Carolina Panthers practice running scout team punt return because they don't want him to do nothing else. He was a walk-on at Texas Tech. He won the job there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The dude is just a survivor, and I think let's put it this way. Had you have plopped him in Buffalo or like Baltimore, he would be considered one of the top quarterbacks in the league. But he's had to go on this circuitous route to where he is now, and he'll never get thought of the way that he should. But, I mean, the dude put up better stats than Josh Allen last week.
Yeah. I mean, he did.
So,
but there's context.
So what does he got to do?
To be applied there.
No, but what does he got to do? He's led 2 different organizations to playoff wins.
Win another playoff game. Win another playoff game, and then you'll get my attention. I'm not going to give him all that credit for beating an Eagles team like that.
Do you remember that game, that Browns Chiefs game in 2020, before everything fell apart for him?
No, I don't.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. David complimenting my use of circuitous, but I can't even say it. Dude, they had KC on the ropes. We were watching that game hoping that the Browns would win.
It was played in Arrowhead, right?
Yeah, that the Browns would win, and the AFC Championship game would be in Buffalo. And they were close, man. They almost got it done.
No,
what is this? Sure. What does this guy have to do to please you? Like, only Super Bowl? Are we at the rings conversation?
No, I would say he's the most battle-tested quarterback left in the group on the NFC.
That's not even true. I'll disagree with you on that.
It is true.
No, it's not.
It is true.
Jared Goff has played in a Super Bowl.
Jared Goff, man, stop.
No.
Stop.
But you said battle
Sean
tested.
McVay. Sean McVay. No. Let me finish this comment.
Battle tested.
Sean McVay's system is the best system in the NFL.
That doesn't matter. You said battle tested. You didn't say talented. You didn't say overall. You said battle tested. The most battle tested quarterback is Jared Goff.
He is the most gritty, battle tested quarterback in the NFC remaining, but Jordan Love is the most talented.
Your takes are trash today, bro. Are you feeling
Just
all right?
because you don't like it doesn't mean they're
feeling all right?
trash.
Is it like? Is this too early for you? I don't know. What are we? What's that? Are you tired?
Wow.
You sleepy,
The
bro?
abuse. The abuse I
Did you hit
get.
some Hennessy last night? Like, what's the?
Oh, I should have.
I
I should have hit some Henny.
dude, your takes are trash. Jared Goff's played in the fucking Super Bowl, dude.
Jared Goff is still fucking.
Yep, battle tested. That's what you said.
He's
battle
an eraser
tested.
head.
Not talented.
He's not.
Not.
Fuck Jared Goff. His name's Jared. Get out of here.
I always did hate his name. Goff is a weird last name.
Baker Mayfield, dude. Baker Mayfield. You talk about adversity. That guy has had adversity since Texas Tech. Like he to me, he's the most battle-tested quarterback of that group remaining.
Oh yeah, it was
he's gone through more than Jared Goff has.
Real tough for him at Oklahoma. T-Rex says, remember that last year's game, he had that good win for the Rams and was only on the team for like a day. Yeah, that was that Thursday night game he came in, and he signed with the team on like Tuesday.
Balled out and said, all right.
Yeah.
Bet.
And to his point, when that quote that I was talking about earlier, he said Sean McVay was the first one to kind of turn it around for him. Yeah. And McVay was the first one to say, like, dude, you only got so many more chances. So just be yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Don't try to make anybody happy or please anybody. Just go out there and be yourself. And it helped him get a little bit of that swagger back. I can't stand him saving Todd Bowles' job. That is maybe my least favorite part of this story. Because, like, there's nothing that I would have loved more than Bruce Arians coming down from the fucking office up there and just no risk it, no biscuit with Baker Mayfield. Come on now.
Yeah. And, after that game, Todd Bowles is just grinning like he done did something. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, I get it, but you beat the Eagles team that they all hate themselves. They hate each other. Like, there's just no continuity, no brotherly love. Ain't none of that in there. They all hate each other. Did you see tight end Dallas Goedert talking shit to Jalen Hurts on the sideline?
I mean, don't
AJ
do that.
Brown.
No, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to stop you right there. Because what did we say when everybody did this with Stephon Diggs last year? It happens on the sidelines.
This was different.
No.
This is different.
Don't do it.
Stop. Let me finish. Stephon Diggs wasn't an asshole to Josh Allen.
Yes, he was.
He was just saying, like, no, he wasn't. He was just like, yo, throw me the ball. Dallas Goedert called him a bitch. Did you see that?
Bro, you have been around football long enough to know that shit happens on the sidelines like that all the time.
Your tight end calls you a bitch. Stephon Diggs did not call Josh Allen a bitch. Come on now. It's different, dude. You got your leading receiver scraping and scrubbing his IG of all Eagles stuff. And that could be something from the management that he's not fond of. We don't know, but it's happening. What I'm trying to say is Todd Bowles is sitting there acting like he beat somebody. Yeah, y'all didn't beat nobody. You didn't.
It's a playoff win. That win means as much as the Bills win. That's how I'll put it. Because Steelers shouldn't have been in the fucking playoffs either.
How many people are talking about the Bills beating the Steelers? Nobody. No. Nobody's talking about it. They shouldn't be.
Well, you're right.
This is the game that we're seeing tomorrow. That's the game you should talk about.
Right. Listen, there's no doubt the Eagles were falling apart. They looked when I was texting my boy who was an Eagles fan during the game, I was like, dude, it is not like we can talk about scheme or design or, personnel groupings or whatever. The effort's just not there.
It's not there.
Like, it did not matter what you called in that game. Effort was not there. And that's amazing for a pro football team in the playoffs. That's amazing.
The only position group that played inspired football was that defensive line. It felt like they were ready to play, but nobody else was.
Bro, T-Rex, I totally disagree with you. He said Dallas was a worse loss, though the Packers destroyed them. I disagree. Those
Packers put on a clinic.
The Packers put on a clinic. The players on the Dallas sideline were, like, hurt that they played like that. And that's what you didn't see out of the Eagles. It looked like the Eagles didn't even fucking care.
Yeah.
And Dallas, and to their credit, they didn't give up in that game either. I mean, they brought that thing all the way back to 2 scores. You know what I mean? So I disagree. I think the Eagles' loss was way worse than the
Dallas was
Cowboys.
outcoached. Dallas was outcoached.
Yeah.
The Eagles had no fight. They had no will. They looked like the Bills did against the Bengals last year in the divisional playoff game.
That's a great comparison. 100%.
They had nothing left.
Yeah.
Nothing left. There's too much adversity that team wasn't accustomed to this year internally, having so much beef and drama.
So do you think
And
they
that's
should
what
fire
happens.
Sirianni? I haven't
Absolutely.
seen it. I haven't seen anything about that. He was supposed to.
No, they're going to keep him. They're going to keep him.
Did that report
he even
come
had
out?
a meeting. Huh?
Did that report come out?
So what happened was after the playoff losses this past week, he had a meeting with management, and they're going to help him get better assistance and stuff like that. So the plan is to keep him moving forward, at least this year. So they're keeping Sirianni, but that's a mistake. That's a mistake. They should fire him.
They should fire him, particularly because of who's available on the market right now.
Oh my God, yeah.
Vrabel in Philly is 2 peas
Chef's
in a pod,
kiss.
dude. It would be
Chef's kiss.
It would be fucking perfect, Vrabel in Philadelphia. I mean, with the talent they have on that defense, no, dude, no way. Bill in Philly.
Nah.
Vrabel would have to
Philly's
find an
not a
OC
good
that
mix.
could run with Hurts. But yeah, dude, man, I cannot believe they would keep Sirianni after they flat quit on him like that. Like that they quit on him like that. David says
Bill Belichick would have been great in Dallas. I think that was his best fit. He would have done, if he goes to the Falcons, would be great, right? That's a good, young, impressionable team. Oh, listen, here we go. Listen. He could help that team just because it's a young roster and these guys, and they have talent and they want to win. He's a master motivator in that regard. I think he'd be good for that locker room. It depends on the assistants that he brings down, because he's talking about bringing all the guys he already knows.
I was going to say, it's going to be McDaniel for
Yep, he's talking about him.
OC.
Matt Patricia. It's just, yeah. So, but we did call Antonio Pierce to the Raiders.
No way they couldn't. No way they couldn't, dude.
They had to.
And I know he doesn't have a ton of coaching experience, but I said it. I don't even remember where. I said it somewhere. His first call is going to be to Tom Coughlin, and lo and behold, an article comes out yesterday afternoon. Tom Coughlin consulting on putting a coaching staff together. He also hired another ex-head coach, which I can't remember who, but yeah, I mean, he's doing the right thing. He's surrounding himself with coaches who have been there before. So if you have the locker room and you surround yourself with guys who know what they're doing, I think he's going to be successful there.
And not only that, it was also revealed in that Tom Coughlin interview or call that Antonio Pierce was a childhood Raiders fan growing up.
Yeah,
because a couple weeks ago I said, dude, although he didn't play for them, he just, that grit and attitude and swagger, he fits like the Raiders completely. And I didn't know that he was a Raiders fan growing up. Yeah. Crazy.
David says Vrabel in Seattle, which it just makes me sick that they're going to go back-to-back coaching. They're going to do like a Steelers here. They're going to hire Vrabel and be good in the NFC's West for the rest of time.
Yeah, I wish they would just hire Dan Quinn just because I don't care. But Vrabel, I just feel like he's such a good coach. He's such a good coach. I just feel like he deserves better. He goes somewhere where, ownership is that buys into him,
Well, but they will in Seattle, I think. You don't think so?
I don't know. I'm not saying they won't. I just don't like Vrabel wearing Seattle green and gray. I
feel like Vrabel might be the guy that gets left out of this cycle, to be honest.
That would be a crime.
It would be wild.
That would be a crime.
But if
you mean to tell me that
if Harbaugh's in San Diego,
oh God, why would you say that? Which is probably going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. I don't think Vrabel wants the Carolina job. I think Dan Quinn is the front runner for the Seattle job. I don't know. I mean, where else would you put Vrabel? Patriots filled up. Falcons filled up. Raiders filled up. I think that's it. Who am I missing?
Well, wait, did Bill go to Atlanta?
It sounds like it's a done deal.
Damn.
And so, like, if you're Vrabel, don't you just wait? Like, you want to go coach Bryce Young with David Tepper as your owner? Get out.
Yeah, I don't know who. I know there's only 32 of those jobs, but
yeah, but
who's going to take that Carolina job?
Oh, I mean, some assistant.
Yeah. Dave Tepper is your owner.
Yeah.
And Bryce Young is your quarterback. Oof.
Yeah. Who's the guy in Detroit? Brian Johnson? Ben Johnson? I always mix him up with the Eagles guy. I can't remember his name. Somebody like that. Aaron Glenn. Somebody like that. That Panthers job and go 4-12 next year or whatever. Okay. What else do we want to talk about from last weekend? I do want to spend a second on the Bills. They look like, to me, a team that still hasn't put their best game together. And I'm interested to know your take on that.
I completely agree 100%. It's like if you had a cup, right? Right now they're playing 3/4 full. They're playing good football.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball,
yeah.
But they haven't reached their pinnacle yet.
When you see that team click on all cylinders, I mean, you just know it. Like, it's a feeling. It's I don't know if you've ever heard of like a state of flow, but that's what it feels like when Josh Allen's feeling it and that team's moving on all cylinders. And it's still
best team in the league.
Hasn't
best team in the league.
Way. And that was what I was talking about with Milkman, who conveniently is still not here. Milkman, where are you at, dog?
I'm just lonely, just waiting on Milkman to come. Man, but I love him.
When people were talking shit about the Bills when they were 6-6, that's what I meant when I said you better hope they don't find it, because if they do, they are going to start trashing people. And like you said, they're playing 3/4, and it's still good enough for them to win. But they got to find that extra gear this week. They really do.
They do.
And even in their win against the Steelers last week, I didn't think they had it.
Well, they don't have to find it this week, I don't think. Like, I think you could play 3/4 and beat the Chiefs. Now, the Bills beat the Chiefs playing 50% in the regular season. Now, I know it's the stakes are different now, but the defense that we saw with Sean McDermott against the Chiefs, I mean, he was just now getting in his bag a little bit at that point. Like, what we've seen from then to now is a completely different story, like in terms of how he calls the game, because I felt like he still had blunders in that Kansas City game. You know, he's cleaned a lot of that up. The offense in general, Josh Allen wasn't playing well at all. He wasn't playing that well, according to the standard that we see Josh Allen play. And what has happened is we've had these other guys step up. And that's what I've been talking about for weeks, is that championship caliber DNA, where you have guys like James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, Christian Benford. I mean, I can keep going. Guys who step up and make plays in big time moments, and I think that DNA is super important. So you're right. They haven't played their best ball yet, but I don't know if they need that. I think it's more of a mental hurdle tomorrow than playing their best game tomorrow.
But I think that's why they need their best game. Because I think if there's a here we go again moment at all, it's gonna get them. They have to play their best game tomorrow. I really do think.
You think?
But I think they're absolutely capable of it. And what's amazing to me, and I wanted to bring this to you too, when the Bills have played the Chiefs in the playoffs 3 times. The first time they played the Chiefs, I literally had said, like, you win 2 playoff games and then take your best swing at Kansas City and see what happens. They were dominant all year. That team was amazing. You felt like they were destined to go to the Super Bowl. They did. They won it. it was no surprise. That was an amazing, incredible Kansas City team.
Sure.
Then the next time they played that team, which I believe was the next year, it felt like they were like closer, like they were on even footing. And it was you can beat them if you play your best game. This time, for the first time, I feel like you're better than them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to respond to you're better than them. Go beat them. It's nothing else to it.
I think Ed Oliver had the best quote this week. I'll paraphrase it, but basically what he was saying is, if we don't show up, we'll go home. He said, since I've been a rookie, the thing that I've learned in these moments, if you don't execute, that's where he used execute. If you don't execute, we're going home. And that, to me, coming from him, says, oh, they get it. This is a different mindset that they've had playing the Chiefs in the playoffs. And I said, hell yeah, I'll run through a wall with you. I think the Bills are going to beat those boys. Josh Allen himself this week talked about, a lot of us, we've been talking about legacy and, and I'm going to pull this up because I saved it. And this was during the press conference this week. And this is what Josh said. He said, they have been at the top of the mountain. They know what it takes to get there. We have to get there. I have been waiting for this moment for a long time. You can't help but get excited. They get it. They know what's at stake.
And I think that was part of what it was last year. I think they weren't focused on that Cincy game. I think they were focused too much on, what was it, Atlanta? Headed down to Atlanta for a neutral site AFC Championship Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's part of what got them last year. I also think they were mentally drained with everything that happened.
Right.
But, yeah, I think since 13 seconds, him and Steph and who else? Ed, Micah, Jordan, they've all been trying to get back to this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, and like that worries me for next week, but I'll worry about that next week because but you're back here now, so do it. And surprisingly, you got it at home. So,
well, I don't know, man. I think you might want to change your opinion on that because the Bills have played in an AFC Championship game where Lamar Jackson hasn't even won a playoff game, right?
We'll get there. We'll get.
Yeah, I got some takes on that next week, so can't wait. But yeah, let's get these Chiefs, man.
Hold on. Well, so Chiefs Dolphins last week. Listen, it's kind of, for me, with how cold it was, it's kind of a game you just throw away. Like Kelsey didn't look great, whatever. Patrick Mahomes willed his team to victory. Their defense looked really good, but I don't want to give them too much credit because, man, the Dolphins looked like they did not want to be there. So, to me, it's just one of those games that, like, it was so fucking cold that I kind of just take nothing away from it other than Kansas City advanced.
No, yeah, I agree with you there. And I felt like, the Dolphins, this has happened in consecutive years. They start off extremely hot, but they have no counter. They have no counterpunch. And when you get to the end of the season and in the playoffs, they are what they were week one, and they don't adjust. It feels like to me that they don't adjust well, and they can't sit there and say, I understand injuries play a part, but it feels like this. When they lost to the Bills, that's when they felt like we're done. It's over.
Yeah.
They had no will to fight. Kansas City didn't look that great.
No.
But the Dolphins, schematically, watching that game, watching all 22, it's like they just Tua is who he is. He ain't getting better than that. And that's what scares me about the Dolphins. If I'm a Dolphins fan.
I will say this. One thing that quarterbacks never get in this day and age, and I've said it with you a couple times, is time. And as a quarterback, to read NFL defenses, to understand what you're seeing, I really do honestly believe the amount of reps matter. So I don't want to say Tua can't get better still. It's really, honestly, it's like his third year in the league. Because between fits and everything his rookie year and being injured for a whole year last year, with concussions in and out, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'm counting that. I'm kind of saying this was kind of like his third year in the league, if you will, right? So I don't want to say he can't get better than he is right now. He can. It's just he
not
does.
likely.
He's got certain physical limitations, and he's got to understand what he needs to do mentally to overcome those physical limitations. And I think a great example is Peyton Manning at the end of his career. Like, of course, Peyton Manning had it all figured out mentally. He's Peyton fucking Manning. But he also could not throw the ball down the field with any kind of pace. And he was still an effective quarterback because he was getting them in the right play, getting the ball out of his hands, throwing with anticipation, so on and so forth. And Tua, I think, can turn into that. It's just how far is that going to take you in, and now I get to make my other point. We talked about how bad the quarterbacks are in the NFC. Let's talk about how good the quarterbacks are that are left in the AFC, right? Like, how far is Tua, even if he takes another step forward mentally, going to get you in an AFC where you've got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Stroud, who else you want? Herbert, Lawrence. You know what I mean? Like, how far down the list you want to go before you put Tua on there?
Oof. Dang. Yeah, and that's why if I'm a Dolphins fan, I gotta be concerned. Like, Tua's not the future. I'm sorry. Like, you're not gonna trot Tua out there against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and think you're gonna. The system, I think that system really elevates Tua's play. They need to fix that offensive line. That is the only way that they're gonna have hope that they can keep Tua at that point in his career. You know what I'm saying? Like, that, as good as he is now. If they don't fix that offensive line, oh, it's over. They need to spend all their resources on offensive line here on out.
Problem is they don't have any resources.
And you know why? It's because you got Bradley Chubb in there. You went and got Jalen Ramsey, right? And now they're talking about they're not going to be able to sign Jalen Waddle, right? So
talking about not being able to sign Christian Wilkins, who I hate, but is great.
Oh yeah, they're not signing him. They got Brandon Seiler under a nice hefty contract. They went and signed their right tackle to a really nice contract. So, I mean, I'm not saying some guys don't deserve to be paid.
Xavier Howard's going to be a free agent, I think. Either that or
they're going to have to release him. You should have heard his exit press conference, exit interview. Yeah, I mean, so if you don't draft, they have to hit the draft, but they gave away picks for you know. So they're in trouble, man. They're in trouble.
I really do think so. And listen, these next couple years might not be bad years to be bad, because when I go down that list with Tua as your quarterback, who are you favored against on a neutral field? Let's just call it a neutral field. Not Mahomes, not Allen. You saw what happened against Jackson. What was that, 56-14?
Yeah.
Right? Like, not Burrow. I'm not picking you against Burrow. So there's 4 right there. That's the divisional round of the playoffs. So to get into the divisional round, you got to beat one of those guys. You doing it with Tua?
And by the way, Tyreek Hill, after every season contemplates retirement. What do you say? He's got a couple more years left. Then he's done.
So then let's throw one of the rumors out there to you, which I love and hate at the same time. Justin Fields for Tua.
Doesn't move the needle for me.
I would love to see what Mike McDaniel can do with him.
It'd be nice. But I don't know. I just
a quarterback who I think is starting to figure it out in the NFL, who's got real NFL tools and a threat with his legs. You put him into that. I just don't think he does any worse than Tua does, and I think the ceiling is much higher.
It is, for sure. He definitely has traits and tools. The problem is it's Bill syndrome. When the Bills had players like Ryan Fitzpatrick, they are going to do what they can to keep Tua, and Tua's not the answer. When you look, it'd be one thing if Tua was in the NFC, you could sign Tua to a deal because your competition in terms of quarterback play is, it's very down. Like you could sign Tua to some sort of 3-year bridge deal or something like that, and you know. But the problem is Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson put so much pressure on you. I think it's hard, man. It's so hard. I think it's they're toast.
I really do think they're in trouble, specifically because of the cap.
Yep.
And I've said this to a couple Bronco fans about Russell Wilson. You know, I'm taking 10 quarterbacks in the AFC over Russell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you're in that position, here's a couple years where you let everybody get older and maybe one of these quarterbacks leaves and you eat your bad years right now while they're in their primes. And that way on the back side of it, you can come back with a new guy and see if he's the guy. But it's not a bad time to be bad because you're only going to go so far anyway. You know what I mean?
Take that dead cap. Take all of it. Get rid of players that you could get assets for and you can draft and develop. And in 3 years, you're like, then you're ready.
The Broncos have that. I don't think the Dolphins do, but the Broncos have assets that they could trade and get mid-round picks and look like the Texans in a couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so one question I want to throw out before we get, and you know, I was kind of planning our second hour, so it's kind of timing up nice. Our second hour, we'll get into picking the divisional round games. But I want to real quick talk about Detroit before we move on. But I want to ask you this question. I just ran down the AFC quarterbacks. 4 left in right now are CJ Stroud, which I don't know that I would put him in the top 4 of AFC quarterbacks, but he's definitely elevated himself. He just, I think, made it to the Final Four because of the way that the NFL seeds their playoffs, which is kind of unfortunate. But so if we're running down the quarterbacks, the 4 left in the playoffs are Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, and Stroud, right? If you put those 4 guys at the top of the AFC, you throw in Burrow, you throw in Herbert. Do you throw in Herbert?
Yeah, I think it's fair.
Do you throw in Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else that you feel like deserves a seat at that table? In the AFC?
No.
To me, it is not tenable for all of those guys to keep their seats. That's 7 guys right there. If those guys are the only 7 guys that make the playoffs for the next 10 years, then yes, they can all keep their seats. But as we've seen in Buffalo this year, seats are going to get hot. People are going to get fired. Now, Josh Allen has proven that you're not getting rid of him. If you're getting rid of anybody, you're getting rid of McDermott, you're trying again, okay?
Yeah.
I think, however, that the only 2 that have proven, 3 that have proven that are Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow.
Right.
I think Jackson is well on his way to proving that. He's got to get a playoff win, right? If he loses this game today, there's going to start being rumblings.
There's going to be questions.
Again. Yeah, right. And so even with 2 MVPs, likely, this guy may be on the hot seat a little bit. And so then when you look at the rest of the guys, the CJ Strouds, the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Herberts, somebody is going to fail because there's just not enough seats. And so my question to you is, over the next 4 to 5 years, who's the quarterback who's out? Because the NFL will reset itself at some point. And some NFC team is going to offer a king's ransom because we just talked about how terrible the quarterbacks are in the NFC and how you could have like a waltz to the NFC title game. A waltz to the NFC title game. And so one of these quarterbacks in the AFC, people are going to get tired of and say he can't win the big one. He can't get it done, blah, 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 blah. Do you have a thought on who you think that might be? And all of a sudden we see them in a Carolina Panthers uniform, in a Detroit Lions uniform, in a Rams uniform?
Yeah, I think it's between Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. It depends. I think a lot of it depends on who the Chargers hire as their next head coach. And I feel like Jacksonville, I expected more out of Trevor Lawrence this season, and I didn't get it. And, when you look at the talent he has around him, it's good talent that he has around him. And I felt like he let the team down. Injuries, whatever. Justin Herbert, we've seen high level moments from Justin Herbert at times. Like you see like his what he can do. Now, I think coaching for him has been terrible, and I think he needs to develop a little more, So if I had to choose right now, I would say Trevor Lawrence is that guy.
So let's say next year, Peterson gets fired. They win 9 games again. Peterson gets fired. They miss the playoffs. What do you think a deal would look like for somebody like that? And the only one I could think of that's similar is Stafford. But Stafford was so far in his career already that it was just kind of like a let's do you a favor deal. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like trading a franchise quarterback, really.
Yeah. I would say a couple firsts, 2 firsts.
That's it. Because I'll do that tomorrow. Like if I'm the Falcons and I'm looking at that and I'm hiring Bill Belichick, I offer him 2 firsts tomorrow for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I mean,
you think that gets it done?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to throw some fluff in there, but I think 2 firsts is the foundation of that deal. I mean, he's not worth more than like 3 firsts or nothing like that. Right now, I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong on that evaluation, but it starts with a couple firsts. Player, mid-round,
Do you think Trevor Lawrence is a victim of how good the rest of the AFC quarterbacks are? Or do you think he's lacking something?
I think he's lacking something because he's in a division that they should be winning that division every single year. It's bad. The AFC South is atrocious. They should be mopping that division up.
I mean, CJ Stroud has something to say about that, right?
Well, I mean, we're talking about not just this season,
yeah,
but we're talking about the previous seasons.
But they did. They won it last year.
They did, but
yeah. I mean, I
understand
impressive. What you're saying, but I just,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now, so if you're the Jaguars, you're looking at Houston and you go, oh shit, that guy is better than our guy right now. What do we got to do? What do we got to do to get Trevor everything he needs? Is it better coaching? Is it different personnel? Is it what do we got to do? They have to look in the mirror real hard because Houston nailed it.
Well, so did they 4 years ago. They did. Trevor Lawrence
4 years ago. 4 years ago.
But that's the point I'm about to make. Trevor Lawrence was as much of a hit as CJ Stroud is. Right?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Trevor Lawrence, you name the year that Trevor Lawrence looked as good as CJ Stroud. You can't do it. I know it's only one year.
Allow me a little bit of leeway here. Okay.
Okay.
You hit on Trevor Lawrence. Maybe not to the same extent as CJ Stroud, but you hit on Trevor Lawrence. You hit on Josh Allen, who was your top half of the first round pass rusher that you took, Will Anderson, right? And what did the Texans get right that you didn't? Head coach.
Yep.
You hired Urban Meyer, and it has been a disaster and a claw back from the edge ever since.
Yeah, that hurt him.
Real bad. Real bad. And so, I don't know, man. It's just, in this AFC, I just don't think, if I'm a GM planning for the future, but like, I need to know how long I'm going to have my job. But if I'm planning for the future, I'm trading Trevor Lawrence for 7 first-round picks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not paying him $250 million. I'm not doing it.
Ain't no way.
But that's what it is right now. You know what I mean? And that's where all this contract conversation is going with Tua. They're like, oh yeah, we'll pay him, but like, we'll give him like the contract they're talking about for Baker Mayfield, right? Like 150 over 5. Like, no, dog, that's not how it works, man. That dude is gonna.
And he'll just gladly take that deal.
That's what I'm saying. It ain't work like that. And same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Like, if you want to keep Trevor Lawrence, you better be willing to pay him $250 million. And so if I'm a GM, that's a decision that I have to make next year. But I want to trade him while he's still got a year on his contract. So whoever I trade him to, I can say, I want a king's ransom because you still got a year of control before you have to pony up the $250 million. And so, like, I'm looking at these teams, like, who's going to be the first to do it? Who's going to be the first to say, I'll take 7 first-round picks. Thank you.
7, God.
I mean,
damn,
but, like, honestly,
yeah,
Sterls,
but I see what you're saying.
And, like,
it needs to be, the Falcons need to be on the phone right now.
I mean, if you're going for it with Bill Belichick, that's what I'd do, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
But
the Bears could use Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, yeah, you could do that too, and then just flat trade them Justin Fields, because Justin Fields, he's going to ask for $250 million, but he's not going to get it. I don't think anybody's going to get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it's a really interesting time where I think some good coaches and good players are going to get artificially deflated because the strength of the AFC right now is just off the charts. And so it'll be, oh, well, Doug Peterson missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. Well, yeah, but he also won 19 games. You know what I mean? So
right.
That's going to be the situation.
That's tough, man. Thank God the Bills aren't in that position anymore.
They almost were, though. They almost were this year. If they would have lost, they would have fired McDermott, said you can't make the playoffs with Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Like, that's how razor thin it is. Instead, they're the 2 seed.
I would have been okay if they let McDermott go. I really would have.
My man. Tell me where that defense is this year.
No, the defense. Hey, I said in the beginning of the show, what he's done turning around has been amazing. Nothing short of it. All I'm saying is, I don't like the relationship between Allen and McDermott. I just feel like it needs to be more welcome. Like, it just needs to be tighter. Josh Allen is a force, and you have to have the right head coach. I think the right head coach, in my opinion, is an offensive-minded head coach. And as good as McDermott is on defense, or has been recently, Josh Allen should have he should at least have played in the Super Bowl. You know, like things like 13 seconds and some of the playoff debacles that has been under McDermott's watch shouldn't have happened. Josh Allen should have a Super Bowl in his rookie contract. He should. It's just my opinion on that.
And I'm letting it breathe.
Think about it, though.
I'm letting your opinion
Bills
breathe.
fans don't want to hear it because they love McDermott. I
disagree with you.
Sure. Of course, because it's coming out of my mouth. You disagree with it. Tell me what you disagree with.
You don't
in
feel
that
like
statement.
I always attack you like that, do you? Because I agree with you all the time.
Tell me where I'm off base on that.
Because score effects matter, and there was and is another dynasty in the AFC. And so if you want to look at it in a vacuum and say Josh Allen on his rookie contract should have been in a Super Bowl, you can. And I understand where you're coming from. But to completely ignore the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs have been a wagon for the past 5 years is, I think, like, you just had bad timing. Patrick Mahomes showed up in 2019, and your team got good in 2020.
But guess what? Burrow beat him, and it goes.
And that makes it even worse, doesn't it?
It goes to this. The Bills have spent entirely too much resources on defense. Where when you look at Mahomes with Kelsey and Hill, and Burrow with Chase and Higgins,
stop it.
I feel like they should have spent more.
Make yourself sound like a fool. Stop it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
You about to make yourself sound
Josh
like a fool.
Allen.
Stop it.
Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the league. I feel like he should, outside of the Diggs trade, they should have done more for Allen from the offensive line point of view and the receiving skill. I don't feel like they've done enough. And
From the offensive line point of view,
their offensive line is good this year. But
Sterls, they
how
paid
many
$10 million to an interior offensive lineman like 3 times. Just because it didn't
and
work.
they haven't been good.
But that doesn't mean they're not trying.
I don't give a fuck if they don't try. Make the right decisions. You got other teams out there. Other teams can do it. Other teams have done it.
And they did.
You cannot squander a talent like Josh Allen.
You can't say they
Josh
didn't
Allen,
try O-line.
It wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough.
Listen,
Josh Allen, after the performance of 13 seconds, should not be going home after 13 seconds because his head coach was an idiot that day.
Okay, that's
I'm sorry.
Fine. Listen.
And you know it. When the Bills had Emmanuel Sanders and all those guys.
Hold on. That was a divisional playoff game. You still have to beat Joe Burrow. Now, that year we all said, oh man, they would dog walk the Cincinnati Bengals. But that's because teams are good before you know they're good. And I think Joe Burrow absolutely could have come in to Buffalo and beat them. Cincinnati has had the Bills' number. And so just because they win that game 13 seconds doesn't mean they have a Super Bowl.
Come on, dude. Like, I get it's cool to say the Bengals are great and good and Burrow's a great quarterback. But that year, you're not going to sit here and tell me if the Bills beat the Chiefs that they weren't going to beat the Bengals.
I felt like it at the time. I don't know in hindsight if that's true. I don't. They went to the Super Bowl that year. Give them a little bit of fucking credit, dude.
Come on. As much as we talk about the mental aspects of the game, the Bills losing to the Chiefs that way, the Chiefs were on cloud 9. It's hard to come back another week for another game like that. It helped them, man. All I'm saying is this, and it could have been the Bills' fate too. But if you I would say 65% chance the Bills win that game.
Hold on. So let's go back to your point, though. All I was trying to say is that wasn't an AFC championship game. It was a divisional round game. And you still got to get by one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. Fair? Fair?
That's fair.
Okay. All right. They have tried to fix the O-line. It's not always, not every decision is going to be a hit. Roger Saffold was a bust. It happens. Okay? But they tried. Right?
They made an attempt.
Right. They made efforts. They brought in veteran wide receivers. Emmanuel Sanders.
Which that offense was humming that year.
And it's the kind of guy that this offense has been missing, honestly. So, yeah, absolutely. But, and I know you're going to scoff at this, but I don't think it's fair. They have drafted a running back in the first 2 days every year for the past 4 years, trying to find the guy. Now, if you're not going to pay running backs, which is what they've done, and that's the NFL model right now, is that we're not going to give out big contracts to a running back. So if you're not going to go get Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry and pay him a fistful of cash, then yeah, you need to spend one of your first 2-day picks on a running back every freaking year and get the kind of contributions they've gotten from James Cook. So don't say they've done nothing for Allen. That's totally untrue.
They haven't done enough. And getting Emmanuel Sanders on his last leg, I mean, it's nice that he was here, okay? But you in my opinion, you shouldn't have paid Dawson Knox $14 million a season. How many times, they just now drafted an offensive guard this past offseason, right? And you're putting these old raggedy guards next to Mitch Morse, like that's not good. And you should have, as much as we've talked about in the past 3 seasons, when mock draft season comes around, we talk about, no, get Josh Allen a wide receiver. God dang, get him a wide receiver, another one. because Gabe Davis ain't it. He's a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 at best. You have Josh Allen. That is the engine. Why are we fixing the windshields? Like, fuck that, dude. Like, come on.
And Dalton Kincaid?
This past season, they did it right.
Okay. All right.
But it took them too long.
All right.
It's like, come on, dude. Get him some more stuff. So I say all that to say this. With all these quarterbacks in the AFC, you are going to if I'm Brandon Beane, my focus, I got to make this offense a fucking wagon every single season because I got to outscore these fuckers.
Do you?
I'm not saying defense, schmefense.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
do
that.
You?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But you gotta
because you
Bills
won that first Chiefs game 20-17.
And look, context matters. Stop using context here. You're not the Chiefs' offense is shit, and you know it. They don't have nothing to throw to. Kelsey's getting old,
right.
and their wide receivers are bleh.
All right.
You got 2 bad offensive tackles. Come on.
Rasheed Rice isn't blue, but okay. I hear.
He's just now come on in the past 6 weeks.
Okay.
And he's a rookie.
All right. So David says beat LC. I don't know what that means. But I think that's
KC?
Yeah, I think KC makes sense, yeah. Then maybe beat Cincinnati. Not sure they would have beaten the Rams. Listen, if they beat Cincinnati, they've dog walked the Rams. I do believe that. That 13 seconds here, I think they smoked the Rams.
I think they would have beat the Rams.
Yeah. I think they smoked the Rams. I'm not sure about Cincy. I thought at the time they would have beat them for sure. But, yeah. Okay. I want to talk real quick about the Lions and the Rams, and then we will jump into picking this week's games.
All right.
That was a hell of a game. It was the only real tight one of the weekend. But my hot take for this one is the Rams were the third best team in the NFC. And bad coaching decisions led them to be third instead of second. Because I think they should have won that game. I think they should be in Tampa Bay this week. And I think they would have been favorites in Tampa Bay to beat the Buccaneers. And then you got a Rams-Niners championship game, in my opinion.
That's fair.
I can't understand why McVay punted that ball. There were a couple other questionable decisions, which I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But punting that ball with like 4.5 minutes left,
4
something
minutes.
like that. Like, this is why you traded for Matt Stafford. Was that play? Was that fourth down play?
Yeah.
And so I'm happy for the Lions. We've got Lions fans that come to the Bills bar. I respect their fan base. I know what they've been through, literally been through it ourselves. But I think the Rams should have won that game.
Yeah, the Rams should have won that game. I feel like the Rams and where they are in terms of their roster construction, I feel like they overachieved this season because that roster, when you look at it, it's not good. It's not good. And they found some contributions mid and late in the draft. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, like they hit on some guys. And so, like if you were to ask me before the season started, how are the Rams going to be? I would say they'd probably be one of the top 5 worst teams in the NFL. That's how I felt. So they overcame like a lot of, they did a great job this past offseason. So like if I'm a Rams fan, I'm not mad that they lost. I mean, I'm not really that mad. Like, because if they can have another offseason, I mean, like they had this past year, get some of that freaking dead cap off and get now you're going to have a first round pick next year. They're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Now Stafford's getting older.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much longer can Stafford play, I think is your biggest question.
So I think you might want to stop trying to trade for talent, and kind of take the draft and develop for you so you get a quarterback. But
can I tell
I
you
think
what
they overachieved.
Can I tell you what I think they were really hoping? I think they're really hoping that Stafford retires this year and that Sean McVay can make an offer to Baker Mayfield. You can make the face as much as you want. I'm telling you, dude. He had him in there for like he had him in there.
Did you start the Baker Mayfield fan club?
I love him.
Why do you love him so much this
him.
year?
I love him. I love him, dude. I've loved him since
God.
he was a Texas Tech Red Raider.
I don't even know who I'm talking to right now.
Bro.
Baker Mayfield ain't got shit to do with shit.
That's not true. He's a free agent after this year. And I think that if McVay can't have Stafford, like if Stafford is going to retire, that the Rams would be a huge player for Baker Mayfield. And I think Baker would go there.
I don't know, man.
What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know, man. I think Baker's where he needs to be.
With Todd Bowles is where he needs to be.
No. I like him with the Bucks. Todd Bowles is get out of here with Todd Bowles is trash. But I think you get a good coach in there. With that roster that they already have, Baker's in a good spot. Now they're going to have to answer the bell at wide receiver in the next year or so. I mean, Godwin, Evans, getting old.
And you got to pay Evans this year. You got to give him another contract.
Do you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Sounds like.
I mean, I like Mike Evans. He's phenomenal. But come on.
If you're going to pay Baker, in my opinion, you got to pay Evans. You have to provide for him the weapons.
Draft a first-round receiver.
First-round pick's going to be late all of a sudden if you're a Buccaneers
fan. That's okay. There's going to be, in my estimation, there's like 6 to 8 first-round wide receivers this year.
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't done any work on it, but I've heard that. All right, we're going to take a little break here. I'm going to run our 3 minutes of ads. I've got a commercial question that actually is football-related this time. So we'll run that during the commercial, and then we'll be back. We'll pick the games on the other side. I saw your little snicker. What was that about?
Hey, you know what? It's football-related this time.
Yeah.
And that first hour, it was some good dialogue back and forth.
Yeah, too bad your opinions are trash today. Otherwise, it would have been great. No?
Hey, I got to mix it up sometimes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, all right, Skip. Thanks.
Skip.
Thanks, Nick Wright. Appreciate you.
Oh, now don't say that name around here till tomorrow night.
What, Skip Bayless is better?
Well, he's not a Bills hater.
All right, here's your commercial question. All offseason when we were talking about best quarterbacks in the NFL, the first NFC quarterback you threw in there was Jalen Hurts. Not this year. So I want to know, in your opinion, who is the best NFC quarterback and how far down the list of quarterbacks do you have to go before you get to him?
Did you get to Jalen Hurts?
I mean, you can pick Jalen Hurts if you want, but what number, where are you slotting him in?
The best NFC quarterback?
Yeah. You still think it's Hurts?
No.
Okay. Well, last year, that was the name that people were putting in there because he had an MVP quality season. He definitely did not this year.
Yeah. Matt Stafford.
And how far down the list are you going before you put his name in there?
I don't know, man, because I feel like there's a log jam. Like, honestly, I would say Kyler Murray is as good as Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Kyler Murray can play. He could play. I just think the structure around him suffers, but the NFC is so devoid of quarterback. I would say, I would pick Hurts over Jared Goff.
You don't have to tell me about Hurts specifically. If Stafford's your top quarterback, I want to know how far down the list of quarterbacks you have to go before you get to Stafford. If he's your top quarterback in the NFC.
Stafford right now at his age, and you toss that with the NFC, with the AFC, I think he's after. I would take Stafford over Trevor Lawrence.
So Mahomes.
I would take Stafford over. I wouldn't take Stafford over Herbert.
So Mahomes, Allen,
yep,
Jackson,
Burrow,
Herbert,
Stroud,
Herbert,
yep, Herbert, and then
Stafford. 7.
Yep.
And he's what, 37 years old?
Yeah.
I mean, holy NFC, Batman. Welcome back to everybody who was watching our ads for that little bit. T-Rex says Kyler is exciting to watch, but damn, you threw CJ in with some of the greats. I mean, listen, he's got to repeat the performance, but in my opinion, I'll let you go on it, Sterls, but in my opinion, he's looked damn good. He's done stuff rookies have never done before.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about the wins on the field. I'm talking about straight up quarterback play. The tools and traits needed to be a good NFL quarterback it's there. It's there. It's throwing with anticipation. It's making the right reads. It's looking off safeties. It's, having multiple ways in which you complete a pass where they're all not just bullets. He has touch. He has accuracy, off platform, leadership. I mean, is through the roof. He's special.
What led to this discussion, the commercial question was, how far down the list of quarterbacks do you put the top NFC quarterback? So there's 2 questions there. 1, who do you think the top NFC quarterback is? And then 2, how far down the list of good quarterbacks are they? Sterl's answer was Matthew Stafford, and he put him 7th. And that's just, I mean, that's wild. That really is crazy. The imbalance between the 2 divisions, 2 conferences when it comes to football.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into picking these games, dog. We are, what time is it?
Let's do it. It is 1:15.
1:15. We are an hour and 15 minutes away from Texans and Ravens kicking off the divisional weekend. And, hey, man, we were just talking about it. C.J. Stroud playing out of his mind with a head coach.
And I gotta leave in 2 hours.
Well, we're not. I mean,
no, I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna miss the game because I'm gonna be in a gym.
You don't have NFL Plus yet?
I do have it. It's hard to watch him and the game at the same time because I'm yelling at him.
You just need a heads up display. You know what I mean?
I know, right? I know. But that's my guy.
C.J. Stroud and the Texans headed to kind of cold, but not necessarily rainy or snowy Baltimore. Should be a little bit of wind, but weather not exactly a mitigating factor. And Lamar Jackson staring a playoff win right in the face. I think he's only got one other one, if I remember correctly. And it's a question he's going to have to answer, right? Like, he's going to have to talk about it at some point.
Yeah.
So, you want to go first on this one? You want me to go?
Sure. Right now, the Texans are a 10-point underdog on the road. I'm going to take the 10 points. I mean, you're looking at the Ravens, who haven't really played, the starters haven't played meaningful football in 3 weeks, right? So, I just think there's a couple of ways this could go. Okay, what percentage would I give you that the Texans will win? I'll give them about 30% chance to win. If I'm, I feel like CJ he's going up against a Mike McDonald defense that he's seen before. He's seen it at Michigan. So it's not. I don't think there might be some tweaks in personnel. Obviously, it's a little different. The stakes are higher a little bit, but he's seen it. I want to see what he looks like today. It's going to be a big question. The Ravens are a really good defensive team. Defensive line, they're nasty. I don't know. I don't think that the Texans are going to be able to match that intensity, that power with those guys up front. Michael Pierce and those guys. I think it's going to be really tough. And then you look at Devin Singletary, and he doesn't really offer you anything in terms of like playmaking a bit. Like he's not a playmaker, right? He's just going to do it. He's going to do everything the right way, which is nice. But you got to have playmakers in this game, and I don't think the Texans, in where they are in their roster rebuild, I don't think they're there yet.
There's only one portion of the Ravens defense that I feel like is below average, and that's their corners. I do not like their corners. And the Texans don't necessarily have an overwhelming amount of talent on the outside to take advantage of that, but I think CJ Stroud has enough talent to take advantage of that. And so as long as weather conditions aren't affecting him throwing the ball, I love the 9.5 points. And like I kind of want a money line bet here. Kind of. Not 100%.
Oh, like taking the Texans on the money line.
Kind of. I don't know that I got the balls to actually pull the trigger on it.
Whoa.
But I do like the 9.5 a lot. And the Ravens, I've underestimated them all year. I'm going to warn everybody when I say that. I've underestimated the Ravens all year. I'll be the first to tell you. I feel like they play closer games than they do. They've blown a lot of people out. Blew out the Dolphins, blew out the Lions, blew out the Niners. And so I should be all in, but there's just something in my gut that tells me that it's going to be a stupid close game and that it's going to come down to one of these quarterbacks having the ball last and driving down and kicking a field goal. Like I really honestly truly believe that. T-Rex says, are you taking the under? No. I think this is going to be an over game.
Yeah, I think so too.
44 is a low number. The Ravens defense is good, but I don't know why I believe in CJ Stroud so much, but I just believe he is going to score with Lamar Jackson. And so I'm looking at like a 27-30 game, something like that. Like I think it's 27-24. You know what I mean? Like
I could see that.
I think there's going to be some scoring today. And I don't know. I mean, to me, it's about which one of these teams is going to pucker. You know what I mean? Like whose butthole is going to get tight? Because
I think if you're the Ravens, your butthole's tight.
Well,
it's tight.
Listen, if the Texans come out and score, and you look a little bit rusty, and then all of a sudden you start thinking to yourself like, is this playoff thing a thing? You know what I mean? Like, is that real?
Yeah,
I could see that absolutely. It would be exactly what the Packers did to the Cowboys last week. You know what I mean? Come out, put it on them, and all of a sudden they're tight and they're making mistakes. So T-Rex, I like the over, and I do like the Texans to cover. That's my pick. I'm not betting the over-under. I'll be sure to say that because I know I say I put my money where my mouth is. I'm only betting the 9.5, but I'll take 9.5 points for the Texans.
I thought you were going to take that money line on the Texans.
Yeah, I want to. I might put like a couple bucks on it, not like anything major, but
let's see if you put $5 on that, that'll net you $23. If you put $20 on that, that's $94.
I mean, it's an easy $100 right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this game? You had wanted to talk Lamar a little bit, and I told you to wait till we got to this game. Um,
Well, I think it's more suited for next week. I would just make,
oh,
Lamar in the
oh,
playoffs.
wait. You think Lamar's gonna be in the playoffs next week?
Yeah, I think they'll win. I think they'll win. But I don't know. I know there's a lot of people who are big fans of Lamar, and I mean I'm a supporter of him, but I don't think he deserves the MVP. I just don't think the numbers are impressive enough, in my opinion.
Real quick before we get there, if you're watching, I see that we've got viewers, but no one's really chatting right now. I'd love to hear what side you're taking on this. Are you betting against the spread with the Texans or with the Ravens? But tell me
So
why you
I'm
don't.
taking
Tell me why you
I'm
don't think he's
taking
an
the
MVP.
Texans.
No, I know you
I'm
are.
taking the
I'm
Texans.
talking about the people in
Um
the chat there,
oh,
dog.
okay. I just feel like the touchdown numbers, like the amount of touchdowns, I think that matters. Like let me pull it up and I can get more specific. Um, for people to say that Josh Allen doesn't deserve an MVP, I think I think that's media jargon we're talking here. I'm not saying Lamar hasn't had a great season, right? But he's got 3,678 yards passing. That's 15th in the NFL. 24 touchdowns, 7 picks, 64 quarterback rating. Um, you know, rushing the ball, he has, let's see, all of these here. Rushing this year, 821 yards rushing, which is amazing. 5 touchdowns. Okay. Um, I don't know, man. I just feel like I need a little more. Like if he had like 30 touchdowns and those numbers, okay. Yeah. But I just
Here's the thing. Let me ask you this,
mhm.
and it's not to say that either of them doesn't pass, but I think Lamar Jackson is very much an eye test pass. And so I don't know that diving into the raw numbers gives you the feel for why Lamar should be the MVP. But I mean, they were smacking teams this year. They were blowing teams out. And like his numbers I think would be more impressive if they were in close games. But instead they just start feeding Gus Edwards the rock cuz they're up by
and,
20. You know what I
and you
mean?
know
Like,
why? Their schedule is pretty it's not that good. The schedule they played is I mean, they don't it's not their fault, but it's nothing impressive. I'm looking at it right now.
okay.
Houston, Cincinnati, Indy,
Hold on, hold
Cleveland,
on. Hold
Pittsburgh.
on. Tough game. Houston.
Houston
Cincinnati
was not
was
a
with
tough game.
Burrow. Tough game.
Not Houston, the very first game of the year is not a tough game. They won 25-9. CJ Stroud's first game. No, we're not going to do that. With Burrow, we know, like in the past few years, the Bengals always start slow, but it's a division game, and they won. Kudos to you. But Indy, overtime, Cleveland, we know what they are, right?
Two
They
two
smoked them.
two teams fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the year. Okay, go ahead.
Pittsburgh, they lost 17-10 to Pittsburgh. Tennessee, they won. Detroit, they won. Now, that's an impressive win. Detroit's a good team. Arizona with no Kyler. Seattle, we know what they are. They lost to Cleveland. And then Cincinnati with no Burrow, they won. Chargers are a hot mess. The Rams, overtime. Rams are an overachieving team. Jacksonville, we know what they are. You beat the 49ers. That's a great win. And you beat the Dolphins. And we know what the Dolphins were on 12/31, right? So I look at their schedule and I'm like, you didn't have to, it's just not that impressive to me. That's all I'm saying. But you don't control who you play. I'm just saying I
That's
think a
10 tough
lot of it,
games I
and
counted there, dog.
okay, well that's why your take is bad. I feel like a lot of this has to do with it's like I'm not using it as race, but it's like the idea that Lamar Jackson has to be counted as one of the greats. You know, to me, I feel like some of it's media driven.
I don't feel
I
like
think
it's
Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback.
Do you know
Give
what?
him his due on his own, but I just feel like people have marginalized Lamar, the media, and it's like, oh well, but now look at him. So we have to like throw him extra. Like he's been this guy. He's good. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Now all the naysayers don't try to come talk about Lamar now. Don't do it now. He's
No.
been this guy.
So
He's just injured.
what I think it is more than that. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what I think it is more than that is the obsession with giving it to the best player on the best team. And he only had two choices this year. It was Baltimore or San Francisco, and San Francisco has a quarterback that nobody's ever heard of and nobody thinks he's the reason that they're doing really well. So all of a sudden, like, your only option is, well, it's Baltimore's quarterback then, because Baltimore's the 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. That's probably more realistic than what I just said. I think those things do matter, but what you just said probably is the overarching theme as to why.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he's deserving. I think the eye test is better than the numbers. I think he's deserving of being like in the conversation for MVP. I don't think it's like totally crazy that they give him the MVP. I just think that I honestly believe Allen was a better choice. But rose-colored glasses, you know what I mean? So I can just tell you, having watched that man play football this year, yes, even with the interceptions, there's nobody. And it goes back to, and maybe we need to redefine these awards. There's nobody more valuable to his team than Josh Allen. They had 0 first-team All-Pros. 0. So either you got to tell me the coach is great, or you got to tell me the quarterback's great, but you got to tell me one of them's great. You know what I mean? Like one of them deserves an immense amount of credit if you're saying that there is no all-pro talent on that team, well, period. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. It just, when you're talking about most valuable player, Allen's more valuable than Jackson. If you want to talk about most fun player or best stats in the league, or then change the name of the award. But if you're talking about most valuable player, there's nobody who's more valuable to his team than Josh Allen.
Yeah. And people they talk about the interceptions. Sam Howell leads the league in interceptions. Josh Allen's second. Jalen Hurts is third. Patrick Mahomes has 14.
Yeah.
Tua has 14.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and if you watch Josh Allen, like some of them, and I hate to use the term because I don't love it, but some of them are arm punts, right? Like that pick the second pick that he threw versus the Dolphins, it was 4th down, and he thought to himself, like, well, I'm just going to throw this in the end zone and see what happens. And you know what happened? It got picked off, and like, whatever, you know? So don't tell me you can't find 4 of those over the year, and then all of a sudden Allen has the same amount of interceptions as Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think the interception number is that important. People just make a big deal out of it because they just, this narrative to, knock down Josh Allen. So,
all right, of all the people that are viewing and apparently just voyeuristic, a whole grand total of 0 of them have told us who they picked for this game. But people must be betting the Ravens because the spread just went up. It is now Texans plus 10. I don't know what it is on yours, but
it's 10. It's still 10.
Just
the over-under is 44.
It was 9.5 on BetMGM earlier, which is what I bet it at.
I'm on DraftKings.
But it went to a full 10. So, all right, Packers Niners in the Nostalgia Bowl for all our dads. Packers Niners.
It's nice. I like how you put that.
Last week was the Nostalgia Bowl Packers Cowboys. This week it's Packers Niners. Packers getting 10 points. I can lead off with this one. Jordan Love, to me, is like a jet engine that you're trying to get to relight while you're in the air. Like every once in a while, it hits and it goes, and then all of a sudden it turns off. I think it's a credit to Matt LaFleur that he's gotten as much consistency out of him as he can. I don't blame Jordan Love for it. You're gonna, as a quarterback, have to go through those growing pains of learning to read NFL defenses and making the right throws with anticipation. It's hard to do, and it's especially hard to do when the people that you're throwing to are also still trying to figure out the NFL. And with as young as this entire team is, there you have it. What I do like about this team is Aaron Jones is a dog, and they showed it to you in Dallas last week where they took the ball and they handed it to him a bunch of times and they marched right down the field and scored a touchdown. And so if you want this team to follow a leader, you need guys like Aaron Jones to play like he played last week. And you need, I texted you about it, you need Jair Alexander to make some stupid interception, right? The coverage wasn't even that great. The route was pretty bad on that play, but it was an incredible interception. And so you need your vets to be vets and be leaders. That all said, I just don't think they have the horses. And I'm gonna bet the 49ers, and I'm gonna do something I never do. I'm gonna lay the 10 points. I think people are very excited about the Packers. They're talking them up, blah, blah, blah. And I think the Packers probably hang in for the first quarter, first half. But I just believe that the Niners are an absolute wagon. I believe Brock Purdy doesn't have to do that much for them to be great. I believe they're going to be able to, with their misdirection type running game, run the ball easily. And I don't know. I don't think that the Packers have the talent to cover all of the weapons that San Francisco has.
Yeah. The defense concerns me for the Packers. I think the offense will be able to put up points. But that defense, man, they're going to need some lucky bounces to go their way. The 49ers are they're the best, they're the better team. I feel like Christian McCaffrey is going to have a great game. I mean, name a linebacker who's going to match up with him in the pass game. That's going to be the X factor right there. If Purdy cannot piss down his leg, they're going to be fine. I'm still picking the Packers to cover the spread because I feel like, again, same thing with the Ravens. When's the last time your starters played meaningful football? I just think that these games tend to be a little closer, than I think, than what many believe. I don't think this is going to be a blowout, but I can see this being a 7-point game, right? Like it could be out of hand, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, but then, the Packers will score a gimme touchdown, and then there you go. There's your spread, right? So I think the 49ers should win this game. I think they will win this game. But I'm really interested in seeing the mindset that these two teams, the Ravens and the 49ers, have coming off the rest. Will it benefit them? We've seen it in the past. Doesn't always benefit these teams, right? There's a mental hurdle that you have to overcome, right, to test your resolve. And I'm wondering if they're ready for it. Now, I think the 49ers are more equipped to handle it than the Ravens because the 49ers kind of been here before in terms of postseason exits and that unfortunate adversity that you get. The Ravens have not really been here yet. So yeah, that's my take.
I also feel like there's a smattering of desperation in that San Francisco locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I think they feel like they should have been in the Super Bowl last year, and it was unfortunate injuries that cost them that.
Right.
I think Kyle Shanahan feels like he is continuously the bridesmaid, and he needs to get over that hump. And I know there's been a lot of talk about that with another quarterback on another team for this weekend, but I feel like the Niners kind of feel that way in the NFC. this needs to be our year. Look at the rest of the NFC. Like, this needs to be our year.
Right.
And I think they're right. I really do. I mean, I think they are head and shoulders above anybody else in that conference. So I just think they're going to come out with a vengeance. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they're going to come out and put it on them because I think they feel like they were cheated out of something last year, and they're going to want to prove something to them for themselves and for their coach. So, all right, any other thoughts on that?
Nah.
We're split on that one.
I think we're good on that one.
We're split on it. All right, Bucks and Lions in the cold, frozen tundra of Ford Field. Did you see that earlier this week?
Yeah.
Poor lady. I mean, listen, we've all got caught with our pants down one time or another asking questions to pro athletes or coaches or something, and you just try to smile and make the best of it. But she asked Todd Bowles if they're going to do anything to acclimate to the weather inside Ford Field, which is a dome. And to his credit, I mean, Todd Bowles was nice about it. So seems like a nice guy. I just don't think he's a good coach, but he seems like a decent human being. He was nice about it. He was like, no, the 30 seconds from the bus to inside the stadium should be fine. All right, who you got? Bucks, Lions. What you like here?
I'm gonna take the Lions are gonna win this game, but I think it'll be by 3. So I'm gonna take the Bucks with the spread here.
Oh, what do we got here? What do we got here?
Saying the Detroit Lions are gonna win the game.
Just the whole.
I mean, I know you love Baker Mayfield.
Comments about Baker Mayfield.
Oh my God! Stop the
all
Baker.
Of a sudden, you're saying he's in an NFC divisional playoff game all the way to the end. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That roster's still good. He's still serviceable. He's good.
That's it. That's all the analysis that you have for me.
I mean, I think it's an old football cliche term, but whoever wins in the trenches is going to win the game. I think if you are a Lions fan, there has to be some sort of you got to be scared a little bit because at any moment the bad Jared Goff can come out, and it's that would be concerning to me. What are you going to have to do with Vita Vea up in the middle, and Antoine Winfield Jr.? Those are some things you're going to have to really answer. Your cornerbacks, okay? So that's why, the Lions don't have great cornerbacks, right? So I think they're going to have some problems with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, the kid from Nebraska that's been playing well lately, Palmer. So I think it'll be a close game. I think this will be a so-so game from Jared Goff. I don't think he'll self-destruct, but I think he'll make enough mistakes to keep the Bucks in it, and I think they'll capitalize on some things. So, give me the Bucks on the spread here.
I got torched by this last week because I picked the Lions, but I also laid 3 points, and they won by 1. But I'm going kind of with the same theory here. I think the Bucks are not going to be able to run the ball. I think the Lions are going to be able to run the ball. And I like Vita Vea, but I think to the Lions it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna run the football. And Jared Goff just has to be good enough. I really do like the Bucks wide receivers versus the Lions defensive backfield. I just think they're way more talented. But I heard somebody say it on a breakdown the other day, and I wish I could remember who so I could give him credit, but I can't. Somebody said Baker Mayfield is going to need to throw it 45 times, and he's going to have to be perfect for them to win this game. And I think that's a great way to put it because they are not going to be able to run the ball, and Baker's going to have to win it with his arm. Yeah. And if he does, boy, howdy, you better not have me on this podcast next week.
Yeah, and I think there's another point that we're not talking about. When we talk about blitz rate, the Bucks are one of the highest blitz rate teams in the league. So And Jared Goff is not a mobile quarterback. Now he's going to have to, like we talk about with Allen, he's going to have to know where his hot is and get rid of the football. And then, Sam Laporta's dinged up. When he played last week, but he's dinged up, right? So,
but I think they have the athletes to make those hot routes lethal. Detroit does. So if you're gonna bring blitzes, he gets it out to Amon-Ra St. Brown, or he gets it out to Williams. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
if
they'll make you pay, they'll make you pay if he can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the other thing that you do to a blitz is you run. Right? That's the old school way of beating the blitz, is run the ball at him. So I don't know. There are things telling me to take the Bucs and the 6 points. Here's what's not telling me to take the Bucs. That place is going to be a fucking zoo tomorrow. The average ticket price is over $1,000 on the secondary market. Wow. And for Bills fans that are watching, like, I just want you to think about what that Ravens game in 2020 would have been like if that stadium had 70,000 people in it. Like, no way the Lions are losing this game. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. The vibe in there is gonna be ridiculous, and like, I just keep thinking about that Taron Johnson pick 6 versus the Ravens in 2020, and it was so loud, and there were 7,000 people there. Like, if the Lions make one play, that place is gonna crumble. And so it's too much juju. Like, even if Jared Goff isn't playing well, that stadium is going to pick him up and carry him. You know what I mean? Like, I can't bet against it. And that's what I mean when I say, like, it got me in trouble last week, because I believed the same thing, and that place was wild. But the way the score worked out, it ended up being only a win by a point rather than a win by 3. I might get burned by it again here. 6 is a lot, especially in a playoff game. But I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to lay the 6.
All right.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I don't even want to talk about it, dude. I don't even want to talk
so much about it this week. Yeah, I've talked a lot ad nauseum.
Game of the weekend. Chiefs, Bills.
Yep.
There's no doubt that to television stations, it feels like a Super Bowl. To Bills fans, it feels like a Super Bowl. I think to even some Bills players, it feels like a Super Bowl. The only team I don't think it feels like a Super Bowl to is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that's something to be concerned about if you're the Bills. You've got to know that you're coming in with a whole lot more weight on your shoulders than they have.
Yeah.
And that, just like we talked about with the Texans last week, that can either drive you or that can kill you. Yep. And the Bills have to find a way to deal with all that pent-up anxiety and stress and legacy and everything that the fans, that the media, that themselves are going to bring into this game. And I think that's as important as anything else. If I'm talking about technically breaking down this game, and I texted this to you the other day, I think the most important thing in this game is Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde.
Yep.
The Bills are struggling in the defensive backfield. I include linebackers in that, so they've got some corner injuries. They've got some linebacker injuries. Their linebackers who they're putting in there are not cover guys. And they're going to have to come off the field in passing situations, not only because of Travis Kelce, but also because of guys like Noah Gray. And you're going to be asking those guys basically to play linebacker and cover some of these tight ends or cover Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield. And I'm not saying you can't scheme a defense where that's effective, but what I am saying is I think a big portion of this game is going to be decided on whether Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde can look like Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde of 3 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, I think Stephon Diggs might be more beat up than we're being led to believe. Um, I still think you should force feed him the ball. I think Khalil Shakir is going to play a bigger role in this than maybe anybody, because I don't think that the Chiefs have a slot corner or a linebacker or a safety that I like covering a guy like him enough. I think they do have the guys to cover the Bills' tight ends. And so I think it's going to be important that the Bills create mismatches with two tight ends on the field and a running back on the field, because between Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and James Cook, one of them is going to get a favorable matchup. And Allen needs to figure out who that is, and that's how you're going to beat this Chiefs defense. But I think wide receiver wise, Khalil Shakir has to show up again. And then finally, I think you have to find a way to maul them in the trenches a little bit. Chris Jones is a great player, but he's the only one I'm afraid of up there.
Right.
And so you need to find a way to run the ball and control him and dominate everybody else. And those are the keys, I think, to the Bills being successful on offense. And like I said, on defense, I think it's more just about survival. I mean, we'll see who ends up playing for them, but I think it's going to come down to the Bills needing to score. Like, you just have to go to Josh Allen and say that this has to be your game. And so to wrap it up, I'm going to take the Bills minus the points. Good. I think they win this game. And I actually, I hate saying this to the public, I actually think they win this game big.
Yeah. So Willie Gay might not be available for them tomorrow. He has an illness, along with Wanye Morris, who's going to be out, and Kadarius Toney won't be playing. Sky Moore won't be playing. So they are going to be a wide receiver core that's already struggling. They're gonna, from a Chiefs offensive standpoint, it's going to be, they're just not going to have other guys. Now Mahomes covers up a lot of the. So I think Terrell Bernard plays in this game. So the problem is you don't have Taylor Rapp. So I don't think you're not gonna be able to use Poyer the way that you've been using him in some of those third down situations. Unless, how much faith do you have in Cam Lewis?
I was gonna say, how much do you trust?
Do you want to put
Lewis?
DeMar Hamlin out there? Like, I don't want to see Hamlin out there.
No. But Cam Lewis, I'm willing to have a discussion about.
Sure, but I would caution that a little bit.
You got to do something. So you got to find some way on passing downs to have a linebacker.
so here's the deal. So if Bernard plays, I really like what I saw in coverage from Dorian Williams. I think, you have to put him in there. Maybe he gets 10 snaps on the game. Maybe 6 of those are in passing downs and 4 of those are in run situations. I mean, now you can't really name, but I like what I saw from him. I think you should platoon. I don't think Terrell Bernard, I mean, it depends on how healthy he is. I think he's going to play. Now, if you have to limit his snap count, by all means. If you want to put him just out there on like third downs and second and longs, and you might have to do that this week. But you got to win in the trenches. And I feel like the first matchup, Ed Oliver had a day. Now you got Daquan Jones with him. So I think it's going to really hurt Kansas City's ability to run the football as much as they want to keep it 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, right? The Chiefs also, 16.4% of their passes are screen plays. They run a lot of screens. So the ability to tackle, that's why I love having Rasul back, is going to be great. Now we know you're not going to have Christian Benford, so Kyrie Elam is actually can tackle. He's physical. I like him over Dane Jackson. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I put that out there on Twitter, and people are like, oh my God. Yeah. Listen, I know that Kyrie Elam is handsy, but you can't worry about penalties this game. I know Dane Jackson is in phase in the right place, but Dane Jackson doesn't make plays on the ball. And I think you got a guy in Kyrie Elam who played well. There is not a guy on the Chiefs that's going to run routes better than Deontay Johnson did last week, and Kyrie matched him, right? I think, if you have to platoon those two in certain situations, do so. But I think Kyrie deserves to be on the field. So offensively, I think you're right. I don't know how much of an impact Khalil Shakir is going to have in this game, just because he's going to draw the nickel cornerback, and their nickel cornerback is pretty good. McDuffie's good. But I think this comes down to Dalton Kincaid and James Cook and Josh Allen using his legs, because you can't stop all those factors. You can't have a spy, like let's say if Willie Gay is out. That was their spy that they used for Josh Allen last game, right? So Nick Bolton and those guys like Leo Chenal and whatever they decide to do there. I just think it's gonna. You can't stop. This is the beauty of the Bills' offense right now. Good luck trying to stop them all, right? So I think there's going to be some opportunities to make big plays here. I do worry about Spags, because the way he is able to disguise blitzes like McDermott does, but he's better at it. I think that they kept the Bills to 20 points, right? And that's nothing. And Spags always calls great games against Josh Allen. Typically, now there was that 13 seconds game, got out of hand, but that was both teams.
Well, and
so
they lost a couple big players in that game. Tyrann Mathieu comes to mind.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, I think this will be the best defense that the Bills will face in the playoffs, or on the AFC side. I think the Chiefs' defense is better than the Ravens' defense, in terms of matchups.
Okay.
Not having Gabe Davis in this game is going to hurt you a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too.
More than what people want to admit, just because I feel like Gabe does have big play potential that Trent Sherfield doesn't have, right? So I say all that to say, I think that the Bills will win. I'm picking the 2.5 points. The Bills to cover the spread, and I feel like if you're the Bills, you come out swinging. And I wouldn't even be mad if the Bills took the opening kickoff, but you come out swinging. First play, I want to see quarterback power. Get the nerves out of Josh Allen early, and I think you need to enforce your will. This is not one of those you punch here. I'm gonna let you. You need to set the tone early. So what are they going to do to set the tone? I'm not saying big play hunting, but what I am saying, okay, Spags, you want to send those blitzes? Because you blitzed Josh Allen 36.6% in that Week 14 game. Okay, Josh Allen was 11-17.
But doesn't that just hold on? Doesn't that just tell you, like, coming into this game they're gonna blitz like one snap? You know what I mean? Like yeah. I feel like they're gonna do the exact opposite, try to totally throw him off.
Okay, here's the counter to that. Josh Allen has really done a really good job of getting rid of the ball quick. He had his quick, the stat I love the most with quarterback play, the ability to get rid of the ball quickly. And he had his quickest trigger of the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. I think that was phenomenal. I think it was like 2.4 seconds or something like that. He was getting rid of the ball. So they've shown that they have the ability to get the ball out quick. Stephon Diggs in that short to intermediate game that they've been working recently, that's where it's at.
He's got to
Dalton
win.
Kincaid.
He's got to win. Stephon Diggs has to win, dude. He has to.
If Stephon Diggs has a stat line of 6 catches for 50 to 60 yards, to me, that's winning.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
3 of those need to be first downs,
yeah.
Right? If he does that, that's winning, because L'Jarius Sneed is a physical corner. He's really good. I like Stephon Diggs against physical corners, a la Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is going to try the same approach, or L'Jarius Sneed is going to try the same approach. They stay in phase, but they're physical with Stephon Diggs. And
but
Diggs,
you're going to be trying to scheme mismatches. Like, you need Diggs. You need to not have to worry about that being a mismatch. Like, he just needs to beat their best corner. You know what I mean?
So, and I want to address this, that Klept 2R. Diggs is better than 6 for 50. Man is top 5 in the league. I think you need to understand how good L'Jarius Sneed has been playing at corner. He has been locking people down. And also, so the Chiefs aren't going to let Stephon Diggs over top. They're going to send a safety over there. So the middle of the field should be open. It's not that Stephon Diggs is not better than 6'50". It's just that matchup and Diggs being injured, he's not been the same receiver over the past 10 weeks. He's been injured. And they just took him off the injury report last week.
And Kleptar, to be clear, we're saying that's minimum. Like, we need that minimum from Diggs. So, listen, I think that defense doesn't get enough credit for how good it is. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the best defense they'll see, but if you're talking about creating mismatches other places, you have to have Diggs winning that one-on-one matchup. And to do that, we're saying at least 6 for 50 to win that match.
Yeah. You got to have that.
Subscribed. Oh, Reese Cups. What's good, my man? My boy, my boy Reese Cups coming in after we talk about the Cowboys, of course. Because he don't want nothing to do with that. Love you, buddy.
The test is that middle of the field, though, right? And if Willie Gay's not available to play, who's going to spy Allen? Because Spags always has a spy for Allen. So that's just a lot to game plan. That's a lot to game plan for, and we're not even talking about James Cook receiving the ball in the backfield.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting to is you need Diggs winning that one-on-one, so they throw the safety over the top, and then when you've got Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid and James Cook that are three guys that are also going out in the pattern, one of those is going to be a mismatch. And that's kind of what we were getting at, Kleptar, is that Diggs needs to force the double, and then Josh Allen has to find the mismatches. And you're right, the mismatch might be with his legs. And he'll do that too. You know what I mean? But he needs to find where the team has an advantage, and it has to be because their number one wide receiver is a number one wide receiver.
But here's the thing. They're not going to double Diggs. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. L'Jarius Sneed is going to take him one-on-one.
Unless he's winning.
That's the only – that is from a defensive perspective, and as long as Allen doesn't, like, go, piss down his leg with turnovers, like, if you try to double Diggs, it's over because Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir are going to eat you alive. Please double Diggs. But if that's what they want to do.
Here's the thing. If they put – and this is what I'm saying, right? If they put Sneed one-on-one with Diggs, that 6 for 50 is a minimum for me. But, like, if he's got that all in the first half, they're going to have to start doubling him. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way about it. You cannot let him go crazy. And so you need to kind of force their hand into better matchups for yourself.
Yeah, so no, I want them to come out and just man up on, I think the best solution for if I'm Spags, I'd say Sneed, you got to cover Diggs. I can't afford to give you help. You're just going to have to do it because you can't let Allen go off. Now you got – so let's think about it, and you know this, Rob. You put a safety and a corner on Diggs. James Cook, it's over. James Cook, that's all James Cook needs now.
Yep.
Right? Because now you're looking at one high safety, and then what are the Bills going to do? They're going to go 12 personnel or 11. Now you're in trouble because now you have to add in the threat of Allen running the ball.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt.
Yeah. I want to go back to your defensive side of the ball a little bit for the Bills. He was one of the highest graded Bills last week, so he's no doubt playing well. I don't want to overstate this, but I do want your opinion on it. In my eyes, especially if Bernard is on a snap count and only going in for, like, passing downs, I think you have to consider, even with as good as Ed Oliver is playing, putting Linval Joseph and Daquan Jones next to each other in the middle of the field in run situations to try to minimize the impact that not having some of your best linebackers is going to have. And I'm not saying in like heavy run situations, because in heavy run situations, you can put Klein out there and Dotson out there, and I think you're okay. But in those kind of in between situations where it's 2nd and 7 and you send Bernard out there, I also kind of want you to send Linval Joseph out there and just be like, we're going to keep Bernard clean no matter what, because Taquan Jones and Linval Joseph are going to eat blockers
No, I love
and fill
that.
gaps.
Yeah, I love that. I even have a more wild thing for first down situations. Put Ed Oliver at DN with Linval Joseph and Daquan Jones in the middle.
But who are you taking out?
Huh?
Who are you taking out? Taking out Leonard
Epinesa?
Floyd? I mean, he's played incredible. Taking out Greg Rousseau? He's a great run defender.
On first downs. Rousseau would be the other end. You would have Daquan and Linval, and then Ed Oliver. I just want to see it. I just want to see it. Ed Oliver on those 2 tackles. Man, he would eat. He's cooking that. They ain't gonna do it, but I would love to see it. But Leonard Floyd's been amazing against the run too. Greg Rousseau, one of the top
Rousseau's
5 defensive ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can. I think McDermott will throw in some different variations though. You're gonna see Greg Rousseau reduce inside, right?
Would you go Pee Wee football and run a 5-man D line? And just put just one backer out 5-2, put 2 backers.
Man, if you had Bernard and Benford, I would mess with that.
I'm thinking about it. Like, I don't hate the idea, to be honest with you, but when's the last time an NFL team ran a 5-man defensive line that wasn't a 3-4? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kleptar, the site that we're looking at for lines right now is BetMGM, and we're in Colorado. But BetMGM has even money for Chiefs plus 2.5. They do not want to bump it up to a full field goal, so that's why they're juicing.
So
like that.
this just came down from the Bills. Andy Isabella has been elevated. AJ Klein signed from the practice squad. They signed Eli Anku to the practice squad and released Matt Hack.
Okay, so Martin's going to punt tomorrow. Then we know that. So
Yep.
Isabella's elevated, and who? It doesn't say who the second elevation is.
AJ Klein.
No, he got signed. If he got signed to the active roster, they don't have to elevate him.
Andy Isabella and AJ Klein from the practice squad. They signed Eli Anku and released Matt Hack.
Okay. All right. So they're using their 2 elevations on Klein and Isabella. That's their second free agent signing, and you're only allowed a total of 4.
Yeah.
So that's oof. I don't love that. But
well, I mean, they don't have a choice.
Well, you didn't need to sign Eli Anku. You could have cut Matt Hack and just waited. You know what I mean?
They love Eli Anku for some reason.
I know they do. I know. But I'm just saying, like, you could have gotten through this week's game and then signed him next week. You do only get 2 signings per week, but if you win this game and you need to move on to next week, like, then you sign Eli Anku back. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Whatever. Okay, Kleptar says, I love Isabella, but what a wasted 2nd-round pick by the Cardinals. Man, the kid's got a lot of talent, I feel like he could be better in this league than he has been, but I guess you are what you are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the Cardinals failed him, and I think that, there's a level of nuance that Isabella needs to add to his game. I mean, he's got the speed component, but there's, it's more than speed, and you got to do more than that, buddy. And that's why Isabella is back and forth on the practice squad, right?
Yeah. All right, let's see. We're not going to talk here for probably over a week, right? We'll do Sunday next week. You good for Sunday next week?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Any coaching hires you think happen between now and then?
I just hope that Jim Harbaugh stays with the Wolverines. But other than that, I think the Bill Belichick might come down then, right? Any moment.
Yeah, you think Atlanta's a lock for that? Dude,
should be.
The offense that McDaniels was running in Las Vegas was so archaic. I know he's Belichick's dude, but on the other side, I mean, he did make Mac Jones look good, so I guess that's something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do you think
We'll see.
Who do you think the quarterback is there next year?
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you think Atlanta's able to draft him at 10 or whatever they are?
Yeah. I
Thank
think
you for
so.
the follow, Kleptar, by the way.
Michael Penix.
Man, you really think Bill's going to go into this last stint that he has with looking for another rookie quarterback?
Nah, he probably won't. He'll probably get Kirk Cousins or somebody like
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he's
Russell Wilson.
even if it's Tua or Justin Fields or something. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't believe he goes rookie route here. Kleptar says Raiders fans here hated every second of the McDaniels hire. Dude could never command a room of men. Yeah, 100%. We saw that here in Denver.
For sure.
Mental health guy. You're not getting notifications when I go live. Why not? I put them in there. I'll look through my stuff and see if that's on my end. Make sure you, I don't know. Make sure you're following and everything. Well, mental health guy, we're not long for this world, so if you want to get some slander in, you got like 2 minutes here. Go ahead, give us what you got.
I gotta get ready for basketball, so
yeah. The Raiders and Antonio Pierce, real quick. How do you think that's going to go? Since Kleptar's a Raiders fan,
I think if they, it depends on who they get for GM, but if they surround him with talent, right? Like draft and develop talent, I think they could be good if they get the quarterback right. And if they don't get the quarterback right, he's going to get fired in 2 years.
I just feel like they've got too much expensive talent already. You know what I mean? Like
Devontae Adams and
Max
Crosby and
Josh
I mean it's
So I just feel like he's kind of handcuffed to begin with. Trying to go out and get a quarterback when he's in the middle of round one. I don't know. There's just not a lot.
They got to get a quarterback. You cannot come out there with
who are they gonna?
Aiden McConnell. They're gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah. Mental health guy says if Josh Allen doesn't win this game, ...
Then they don't win the game. I think if they lose the game is how they do it. Now, if Allen comes out and pistons his leg, then we got problems. Like Allen, he better not. He'll play well. But if McDermott pulls the 13 seconds or loses this game, we're gonna have whole other conversations here. So that's all I'd say to that.
Same thing I said about Detroit. Like I picture DJ Poss. Thanks for the follow. I picture. You remember that Spider-Man scene where Tobey Maguire like saved that whole train or whatever, and then the people pick him up and like lift him back. That's what I picture with the Bills. Whether it's Allen having a rough start to the game or the beat up defense or anything like that, like this city is ready for this game. It's gonna be fucking wild there, dude. Like it is gonna be out of this world crazy. So I feel like Allen's gonna feel that juice, no matter what happens, and that'll give him a little bit of energy. Just hope he doesn't go sugar high pitching the ball back, Josh Allen. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody for jumping in. Of course, we have our highest viewer number right before we're about to get out of here. So, that's fun. But we appreciate you all being here. If you missed any part of it, you can go back and watch it on demand on our channel. Feel free to give us a like, a subscribe, a follow. That way when we're going live, you can hop in here with us. Next week, we will do our preview show for the Sunday championship games, and I'm going to try to talk Sterls into coming in on Sunday morning. We'll see.
I'll be here.
You good for that? All right, good. So we'll do a little Sunday morning action and make sure we get you all set for the championship weekend next weekend. And, if you're right, mental health guy, you can come right back here. And if you're wrong, you can do like Milkman did and hide for a month.
He's ducking me. He's ducking
both of them. I mean, the Bills, after the Bills won, he was talking shit about the Bills too. So it's not just ducking you, he's ducking us. He's probably in here right now. I wish I could
Just don't
see.
wanna say
I wish
nothing.
I could know if he's in here right now. He's probably in here right now. But yeah, mental health guy, you can come back next week and run your mouth. I appreciate y'all, and we will catch you next time. I'm going to rage out to Gamer, because why not? You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, Peachy Shortcake. She is a Canadian gamer. She's fun. She's playing Elden Ring right now. So we will send you out to her. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. And yeah, hold on. Okay, we're going. Be nice.
Later.